So New York is one of the largest markets for basketball, and the New York Knicks are one of the largest market teams. But that doesn't change the fact that they have been a joke of a franchise for the last few years. Ever since 2013, where Carmelo Anthony nearly led them to an Eastern Conference Finals, they've been poor. They had a poor 2013-2014 season after trading for Andrea Bargnani, then Phil Jackson came along. And Phil Jackson seems to be doing everything in his power to get fired from his job. Even the Porzingis pick is a little bit questionable because at the time, nobody really thought Porzingis was going to be as good as he was straight away anyway. And also, Phil Jackson was quoted saying that Porzingis was too tall for the game of basketball and might end up like Sean Bradley straight after drafting him, not before, after drafting him. So it looks like Phil Jackson didn't even think he was a good player and just looked out with how good of a player Porzingis is. But now it's looking like Phil Jackson is going to pick up a French point guard, Frank Ntilikina. This guy looks extremely good from his highlights. He's a 6'6" point guard who can handle the ball quite well and plays extremely good defense. He's fast, he's long, and with a 7-foot plus wingspan, he is an extremely versatile defender. And who knows, he could be like Giannis and keep growing. So Frank Ntilikina burst onto the scene in the Under-18s European Championship, where after starting off the tournament extremely badly, through 3 games only averaging just over 7 points per game, he finished the tournament averaging 22.7 points, and also shooting an incredible 58.6% from 3. Yes, 58.6% from 3. And this isn't the high school 3-point line. This is the FIBA 3-point line, which is the next closest thing to the NBA 3-point line. This season, he only averaged 5.2 points per game for playing for Strasbourg in the French league. While this doesn't seem like it's much, he was playing against professionals and was also only playing 18.3 points per game. But his shooting percentages look quite promising. He shot 48.5% from the field as well as 43.1% from 3, playing in a professional league, which is quite good. And also dropped 15 points in a game in the Champions League, which shows that he can compete at a professional level. But one thing about European prospects is you can't judge them by their stat lines in Europe. European basketball is a much slower game, there's less minutes in the game, only 40, and it's much more team-based and young players rarely get a chance. It's a rarity that anyone averages 20 points a game in European leagues, let alone 30 like some do in the NBA. It's very little ISO ball and there's very few out-and-out superstars in the league. And while players like Sergio Llull, Milos Teodosic, Nando De Colo are good, none of them are averaging anywhere close to what the top players in the NBA average, just because they don't take as many shots as they do in the NBA. So you can't really judge a player just by their stats in Europe, but you can judge them by the way they play. And Frank Ntilikina plays the game extremely well. He's an extremely good defender, works really hard, and it's not just his physical gifts. He's a really willing defender. His anticipation is good, he doesn't jump too much on shots, and I think he could become an elite defensive player in the NBA, and is also a decent shooter. But the thing is, what this video is about, is Frank Ntilikina the saviour of the New York Knicks? I'm going to say no. I think that out of all the point guards apart from Markelle Fultz, Ntilikina has the lowest floor, because I think he will be elite on one end of the floor, and that's defense. It's very rare that an elite defensive player will have a terrible NBA career. While a lot of elite offensive players in college, their game doesn't translate well, and if they're not good defenders, they'll be out of the league in a couple of years. There's always a need for defenders, and Ntilikina is a great one. His offensive game is solid, while nothing spectacular is solid. And even though he could improve a lot, I don't give him the same ceiling as I'd give a player like Dennis Smith Jr., who the Knicks might end up taking. But I think if the Knicks want a player to take over their franchise, if they want this pick to be their point guard of the future, if they want this pick to lead them to, who knows, maybe NBA championships, then I don't think they should draft Frank Ntilikina. I think he's the most solid prospect that they can pick up. I think he's going to be the best right off the bat. And I also think that he's the least risky pick at number 8, because as I said earlier, he plays elite level defense and he will be able to shoot the ball right off the bat. While he's not going to be an elite shooter, he's not going to shoot 60% like he did in the European Championships, he is still going to be able to hit open shots right out of the bat. But his overall offensive game needs a lot of work, and I'm not entirely sure how much he's going to improve. He could end up doing Giannis and grow. If he grows, then whoever drafts him is going to have an elite player. But I'm not sure if that is going to happen. So anyway, that's the video. I think that Ntilikina should be a lottery pick, and I think he definitely should be a top 10 pick. But if you're a Knicks fan and are expecting that this French guy is going to be the next Porzingis, or you're expecting him to be the next Giannis Antetokounmpo and lead the Knicks franchise into the playoffs straight away, it's not going to happen. In 3 or 4 years, he might develop into a great offensive player, but we don't know. What you are going to get with Ntilikina is a great elite defender who's going to be able to be a solid contributor right away, but I don't think he's ever going to be the best player on a contender or even the best player on a team that'll make the playoffs. He's a solid player, but isn't going to save the Knicks franchise. So anyway, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.